It was Tim Burton meets Dr. Seuss from the original idea of what E.T.A. Hoffman had in mind in his production. And so it popped off the page, if you will.
In 2012, choreographer James Canfield had an idea for a new larger-than-life Nutcracker production for Nevada Ballet Theater.
James came to me and said, hey, we're putting together this massive 3D project. And he and I already had somewhat of a history to begin with, because I remember him telling me, perhaps in a few years past, that this was a production that he really wanted to do, but he hadn't quite figured out how he was going to make it come to fruition, because it was obviously very expensive and so on.
But building a spectacular version of the Nutcracker would indeed come to fruition. Las Vegas was getting a new performing arts center, and Nevada Ballet Theater would become its resident ballet company. So a custom-built Nutcracker designed specifically for the size and shape of the Smith Center became a reality.
I didn't want to waste the space at the Smith Center by bringing it in so that now you have sightline issues. So we built it and imagined it for the entire stage and building it within a black void so that the actual scenic elements popped out more.
James wanted to break away from the traditional ballet Nutcracker and go with something that was fundamentally large, proportionate, in scale, but three-dimensional. There are so many accolades that go along with this. He is the only person that I know of throughout the country here who's taken on such a monumental task of wanting to actually create his vision and dream of a three-dimensional dollhouse.
There's not one that exists like this in the entire world. There's not a 40-foot dollhouse on stage that's actually realized.
The focal point is watching the dancers, while the scenic elements basically enhance the experience of what the dancers are portraying, what they're doing. But when you're able to bring in a dollhouse where you're seeing it through the eyes of a child and this whole vision, this whole dream.
What was the story? Little girl grows up. She says goodbye to dolls and she says hello to first kiss on cheek. That's it. And it's that simple. And she has a journey along the way. And so some of the things that I put in to make sense for me were a change of seasons. So you went from winter to spring.
Unique scenic elements make this Nutcracker production something you won't see anywhere else.
Of all the pieces, the horse would probably be by far the most significant. I think that was probably the most elaborate piece that we had to work on, even though its size, and it's just simply because of what we had to do to it skeletally and to make it flyable.
Many of the props, such as the rocking horse, were actually made here locally by Blue Line Studios, as well as other scenic shops outside of Las Vegas. Many of the larger set pieces and props are stored at an off-site warehouse and transported to the stage during Tech Week. And if you keep your eyes peeled, you might have even spotted them being driven around town. Once everything gets safely to the venue, it's assembled by the crew and ready to take center stage, where it will transport the audience to a new world.
I love when, and I can, and the bird cage is coming down. And now comes the peacock. That's just such a beautiful piece of music, and the way that he so elegantly, let's say, steps out, and that whole dance is a showstopper. The snow scene is a showstopper. The moon, which is 13 foot in diameter, beautiful scenic piece that also flies in during the snowfall scene. And the tree is revealed. And when that tree is revealed once again, it's that, wow, people are just like, it's Christmas, man, this is it, I get it. We had the Russian dolls, the teapots, Mother Ginger platform, the clock towers, these 14-foot clock towers.
The element of time, and that's the clock towers. Time is something we all wish we had more of. And it's inevitable that, like seasons change, time will go on. And this is the time in her life, and she will grow up from there, as will everybody in life. We all grow up, and time is something that we can't stop, and no matter how young or how old we are, It's always there, it exists, and it reminds us of different things. And at the end, it's flying away into something beyond that dream come true where her dreams go on.
And it's in this world that Tim and James have helped create, where time slows down a bit for the audience as they celebrate the joy of the holiday season.
When you're able to bring something together, a vision, James Canfield's vision, and Patricia Rule's design elements, so working cohesively to make this thing work. It is just something that still gives me a little fuzzies right now. It's just a remarkable production and so timeless. Perfect for the holiday season.